Hey guys and gals, welcome back to another VBS Builds Structures video. This video is going to be called VBS Bridge Building 101 Part 2 Abutments. I'm going to show you how I built my abutments. But before we get into that, I want to thank all you guys for your participation in my contest. It worked out very well, and the winner was David Durbin. Congratulations, David. And he picked this building right here for me to build for him. So I will start picking up materials by the end of this week, and hopefully I can get it done in a couple of weeks for you, David. Anyhow, if you guys really like the contest, I'm going to put a poll up here someplace in the little card dealies that come out, and your answers could mean another contest, maybe in about 6 weeks or 2 months from now, who knows. Anyhow, that's enough of me spieling here. Let me show you what we're going to get into in this video. Move right down here to my workbench, and there you see it. 2 abutments and a center pier. Anyhow, they were very simple to build. As you can see, it's just pretty much just some styrene and some styrene strips and stuff. Anyhow, I'm going to give you a step-by-step on how I did this, and at the end I will show you what the bridge assembly looks like, which you guys have not seen yet completed. It's painted and ready to be put on the layout, other than weathering. And I'll have these guys here. I'm not going to have it on the layout. I'm going to do it right here on my bench, because I don't want to give away what I'm doing on the layout yet. So, get this back out. Major Changes 35 is going to have a major change within that change. Sounds weird? You'll have to stay tuned to find out what that's going to be about. Anyhow, that's enough of me gabbing away here, so let's get on with the video. We'll be back in a minute. Alright guys, now that you've seen the finished product, I'll show you how I got to that point. As you can see, laid out here in front of you are the pieces that I cut out. I already did that, so just to save some time on the video. The design is totally up to you. This is the design I came up with. I like it, and so we'll show you how I do it. Anyhow, I'll go ahead and do one of these, and the second one will be exactly the same, and then I will put the front part on. And for this project, I'm going to be using number 175 styrene strips, and also number 133 styrene strips, and you'll see what the 133 is for. It's pretty small, but you'll see what I use it for. Anyhow, I'm going to go ahead and start putting this guy together, and we'll go from there. Like I said, I'll do one on camera, and the other I will do off camera. Anyhow, I guess we should get started. And I'll be using this Model Master liquid cement. I like it. It works great for me. So we'll just go ahead and get on with that. Alright guys, as you can see, I've got the framing done for this so far, and I left these long so I could just cut them to the angle that's there. And once I get that angle cut out, I will take a piece and fit the last section in there. Anyhow, we'll go ahead and get on with that part. Alright guys, this is what the framed out wall will look like when you get done with it. It's just basic cutting pieces out, making it fit. Originally I just cut out what I wanted as far as the shape of it goes. Also, what we're going to do next is I am going to go ahead and start putting the front section on here. But anyhow, I will need to finish this guy first before I can do that. So I'm going to do this guy off camera. It's basically the same as the other one, and then we'll continue from there. Alright guys, now that both of my, I'm going to call them wing walls, are completed, next thing for me to do is to secure the front part to the first wing wall. And as you can see, I'm using the jig I made for my other part of this project, the bridge itself. Anyhow, I did put some wax paper down here so it doesn't stick to the hardboard. Once this gets done, we'll put the other side on, and we basically will have the general shape of the things. While this is setting up, I'm going to be cutting out the random stone facade that I'm going to put on here. This is a plaster product and it's pretty spendy. So when I cut these out, I'm going to cut them just about 1 millimeter bigger than what the actual lines are, so I can make the adjustments and clean them up after they're secured to the walls. Anyhow, I'm going to go ahead and put some glue on this and get it ready to go. And in the meanwhile, we'll be cutting that guy out. Let me sand this down a bit. Feels a little rough. Just the filing board is very fine. I'm just cleaning up the glue that was on there, and that looks good. And we'll go ahead and put some more glue on here. Uh-oh, looks like I got a clogged bit. So I'll take my trusty little dealie, stick them in the hole if I can find it. Come on. There we go. Just clean the glue out a bit. And let's get back to this now. There we go. And we'll put it up in here, and we'll make sure that both are square up against the corner there, and we'll just put it in place. I'll hold it for a couple seconds, then I'll let it go. Let's see, I'll put a little bit of weight on there just to hold it in place for now. And I'll move this aside, and we'll go ahead and cut these guys out. Anyhow, I'm going to cut these out off camera, and then I'll show you when they're finished and how they're going to look. Be back in a few. Alright guys, as you can see, I have a completed structure here except for the top, which we'll be doing in the next couple of steps. But I also added 4 more supports. I added one here, one here, one here, and one here. There'll be a top here, but there won't be no back. This will most likely get filled in with terrain or whatever. Anyhow, we're going to move on to the next part. Before I put the top on, I want to put some trim around the bottom here, right along the upper edge, and then when I put the top on, it'll look like it's a concrete slab that's sitting on top of there. So let's go ahead and get beginning with this here. Maybe my glue didn't. So I always start on the sides because I want the front to cover the side corners. As you can see, my corners are covered up. On the front will always cover the sides, no matter what kind of structure I do. Anyhow, we'll go ahead and do this. Alright guys, we are on to the next step now. As you see, I've got the top on and I've got the trim around here like I said I was going to do. It should make it look like a concrete slab that was placed on top of the main structure. Anyhow, the next step is going to be painting the top and the trim, and I'm going to be using this Cadet Gray. I don't want to use the H concrete anymore or whatever, so I'm just going to take it off and I'm going to use it out of the cap. Should be enough in there, and I got a little bit of water right here, and so we'll just go ahead and slop some paint on here, and like I said, we're almost done with this project. A couple more steps. Anyhow, we'll go ahead and dip in here, dip a little bit of water, and just go ahead and paint it on. I read somewhere that if you go across the original brush strokes that there won't be any brush strokes left. So we'll see how that works. Anyhow, this might need a second coat. And looks like that's just a scratch. Anyhow, we'll let this dry up and we'll see what it looks like. See if it needs a second coat. Anyhow, we'll wait for that to dry up and then we'll start with the final process of putting the facade on here. Alright, so that's it. We'll wait on now. We'll be back in a few. Alright guys, we're on to one more step, and then there'll be one more step after this, and this puppy will be completed, and I will show you all three of the abutments and the center pier, and with the bridge sitting on top of it. I will not show it to you in the scene, but I will show it to you here on my desk. Anyhow, when you cut your material out, make sure you cut it right, because there's a good side and there's a bad side. I don't know if you guys can see the bad side, but anyhow, it's indented here and sticks out on this side, so you know that this is the good side. Anyhow, simple process. I'm just going to put a whole bunch of glue on here. Make sure you get it up along the edges real good, and up under this little trim that I put here, and so on and so forth. Now, when you put it in, line it up as best you can. There'll be some sanding to do. There's nothing to worry about that. And we'll push it back just a little bit. And that's one side. And now we just need to do the other side. And once we get both three sides on, I'll go ahead and measure and cut the front piece, and then this piece will be done. So let's continue on with the B side. And I know you guys are going to ask why I did that. It's because when I cut everything out, I cut them as a strip. And as a strip, they came out with the right, the left, and the center. If that made any sense to you guys. Anyhow, number 2 going on. And make sure you line it up nice and pretty. Now, like I said, there'll be a little bit of sanding to do because I did cut these oversized. Because you can always make it smaller, but you can't make it bigger. Alright, so we're going to let this dry up for a few minutes, and then I'll measure this front piece, and we'll put the front piece on. And then there's one more step, and then I'll show you the results. So stay tuned, and we'll be back in a few minutes. Alright guys, at the beginning of the video I showed you 2 bridge abutments and 1 center pylon, but I didn't show you how I made this guy. Real simple process. I took this number 189 stripping and just made a square out of it, or a rectangle, whatever you want to call it, and another piece here, another piece here, and then I just covered it with I think it's like 20,000 styrene, you could use whatever you have on hand. That's what I had on hand. So, anyhow, now that I told you about this guy, let me show you this guy. This guy here is all put together right now, and the final step of this is going to be giving it some color. And I don't know if you noticed on this one, it does have a color as compared to, let me see if I can find a piece here, as compared to that. So there is quite a difference on there. And so I'm going to try and emulate this same color on all of them. So let's see how it goes. What I'm going to be using is a wash of burnt umber and a wash of burnt sienna. And all I'm going to do is just dab it on there with my dabbing brush, which is almost shot right now. You can see all the bristles hanging out. Anyhow, we will start. This is the burnt umber is going to go on first. And I'm just going to, like I said, I'm just going to slop it on here. Rub it into the all the nooks and crannies in there, and I will let that dry up for a minute. Okay, so now we got pretty much the brown color I'm looking for, and I'll go ahead and clean off my brush a little bit because we're going to use the same brush. And we will take the burnt sienna and we will do the same exact thing. Let it drip off. I want more of the orange than the brown. And so I'm just going to let that sit up for a minute, and of course it'll change as it dries. And meanwhile, we'll go ahead and do the other two sides. Burnt umber first. I'm using the same brush, I'm just cleaning it off in between the applications, guys. I don't think you need to dirty up another brush just to do this. Just my opinion. Let it all run down to the bottom and have it drip off. And now we'll do the other side. Okay, we're going to hit this side with the sienna. Let that drip down. Gonna have to touch up that gray again, but that's no big deal. Alright, flip this around now. Get the other side. Now, don't forget that depending on where the sun is hitting these rocks, they could fade out at different times and different levels. So I'm not too crazy if it don't come out 100%, as long as I capture what I'm looking for. Just kind of working it in. Alright, we're going to let that dry up, and when it dries up I'll bring you back with all 3 or all 4 components. I will even give you a sneak peek of what the bridge looks like now that it's complete. So stand by and we'll be back in a few minutes. Alright guys, what you're looking at here is the completed bridge and abutment assembly. I did make a few mistakes with this bridge, never building a bridge before. I didn't realize it, and also I would think that there is some poor planning involved here. And what I'm talking about is this guy right here, I think should have been under one of the cross members. So either I needed to make these at 10-foot intervals, or I had to make one more section so I'd have a middle cross member. But other than that, I think it came out really good. And as luck would have it, I ran out of the stacked stone for this abutment over here, so I'm debating whether I just want to leave it in a concrete color or spend the $12.95 and get another sheet of this Plastruct product. Anyhow, I'm not going to show it to you on the layout yet because I'll be working on that scene in major changes number 35. Also, there is a major change in number 35 that you guys will be seeing at that time. Anyhow, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and as always, your questions, comments, input, subs, shares, and likes always welcome. For now, that's all folks. BNSF 6951 out.